Toyota has given the Yaris a facelift. The front in particular has been revamped, giving the car a more striking, modern appearance. The project management for the new look was headquartered in France. To set itself apart from the crowd, the car maker has given the Yaris a hybrid drive. Toyota's product manager for the Yaris says it was offered as a hybrid for the first time in 2012. Back then, Toyota anticipated that a quarter of the Yarises ordered would be hybrids. But the hybrid success astonished the company. 40% of the current generation of the Yarises sold are hybrids. The company expects demand to keep growing to 48% in the midterm. And in the long term, more than 50% of all Yarises will be delivered as hybrids. So Toyota has set ambitious goals. We wanted to see if the Yaris hybrid could convince us. Automotive blogger Larissa Rutkowski got behind the wheel for us. Larissa's first impression of the Yaris's interior is good. There is a lot of plastic, but in this segment and price class, that's inevitable. She notes that one of the materials is unfamiliar to her. It doesn't seem quite modern, but she says even if you don't like it, it's not obtrusive.
Es sieht vielleicht nicht ganz so modern aus, aber es stört auf jeden Fall auch nicht irgendwie, falls man es nicht mag.
The Yaris starts at the push of a button. The battery is charged, so we leave the fuel pump without filling up, and off we go. Our car tester notes how smoothly and simply the Yaris drives. Everything works without the driver having to think too much about it. A plus. The car shifts from the electric to the gasoline engine quickly and almost unnoticeably. Another plus. The only hitch is that the engine takes a moment to respond. But Larissa says that's a very minor problem. She's satisfied with how the car works.
Es stört aber nicht, es ist auf keinen Fall irgendwie nervig und es funktioniert eigentlich super.
The new Yaris is just under 4 meters long and 1.7 meters wide. Compact dimensions for city traffic and parking. Larissa says that the car feels roomy enough, even though its dimensions are compact and practical. You have enough space to feel at ease and free to move. She thinks it's a bit of a shame that the C-pillar is so large. That can be disturbing when you go into reverse to park or when you cast a glance over your shoulder to judge the traffic.
Das empfinde ich immer als sehr störend, wenn man zum Beispiel rückwärts einparkt oder halt auch mal einen größeren Schulterblick im Stadtverkehr machen muss.
Otherwise, the view is good, she says, and the car ends almost with the rear windshield. So the C-pillar shouldn't make parking a big problem.
Daher muss man sich nicht so große Gedanken machen.
The Yaris hybrid we tested has 74 kilowatts of power, and consumption is rated at 3.3 liters per 100 kilometers. It launches from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 11.8 seconds and has a top speed of 165 kilometers an hour. Behind our car tester is a Toyota Yaris hybrid with all the optional features. Its price is 21,000 euros. Larissa says she'd consider a lower-priced version with a little less comfort and luxury, but that's a personal decision. She advises anyone who wants to drive a hybrid car to consider the Toyota Yaris. Car tester Matas Kurat looks at the new Mercedes Vito, and another new Vito, and yet another new Vito. Daimler Corporation offers more than 1,000 different ways to put together your own personalized midsize van. It's a taxi. The car maker demonstrated this versatility when it premiered the light van in an old power station in Berlin. It's a courier's van, or a company bus. The rear-wheel drive version with a strong engine can carry heavy loads. while the 8-seat version can shuttle a whole volleyball team. The Vito is the only vehicle in its segment to offer a choice of front, rear, or all-wheel drive. Volker Monhinweg of Mercedes-Benz explains that a heavy-duty vehicle of up to 3.2 tons total weight puts a heavy load on the rear axle. Hooking a trailer to it puts even more weight on the rear axle, so this clearly requires a rear-wheel drive. But for a lower total weight vehicle, even at maximum load, there's much to recommend a front-wheel drive. If you only ever drive around town, then of course front-wheel drive is definitely the proper choice. The Vito came onto the market with two engine options, both diesels. A 1.6-liter with a 65 or 84 kilowatts of power for front-wheel drive, and a 2.1-liter diesel with 3 power ratings for rear and all-wheel drive. A few changes have also been made to the interior compared with the predecessor model. Volker Monhinweg points out that great attention was given to optimal ergonomic design for the driver. That is, the sitting position, the position of the steering wheel, the pedals. Mercedes has reworked everything. The bulkhead, for instance, was designed so taller people can lean about 8 centimeters farther back and be more comfortable riding in the van. And there are 3 stowage spaces over the instrument cluster that are partially covered to minimize reflections from the windscreen. Now the front is a bit steeper to offer better protection for pedestrians. The cargo space boasts an intelligent seating rail and locking systems. The headlights are available in halogen or LED lights with tail lights to match. The rear can be accessed through either a hatchback tailgate or twin doors. Now Mercedes is offering 2 sliding doors for the Vito. Mata sums up saying, the 3 drive concepts, front wheel, rear wheel, and all wheel, make for lots of versatility and a lower price tag. Fuel consumption has been improved, with 5.7 liters being the best rating for this series, and currently the best in the entire class. But as soon as the competitors bring out their latest models, all bets are off, and Mercedes developers will have to step on the gas.
Und da müssen die Schwaben sich natürlich auch in den kommenden Jahren ins Zeug legen.
Renault unveils the new Twingo, built on the same platform as the Smart 4.4. That's why the Twingo now also has a rear engine and rear-wheel drive. The 3-cylinder engine with a start-stop system uses 4.2 liters per 100 kilometers. The new version offers more interior space than its predecessor. From 2 doors, the new Twingo has moved to 4. The little French car will be seen on German roads starting in September. The basic model costs €9,590, 400 less than its predecessor. Fiat has made its van, the Fremont, more versatile, at least in looks. The Fremont Cross is designed to appeal to SUV buyers. Featured are not only front and rear spoilers in the Cross design, but also 19-inch wheels, leather appointments, and a touchscreen GPS device. Of course, the Fremont Cross can be ordered with the already familiar electronically engaged all-wheel drive. If you want to drive an Opel with the top down, says car tester Emanuel Schaefer, your only choice is the Cascada. It shares its floor assembly with the Astra, and that's about all. The rest was either developed specifically for the Cascada or borrowed from the Insignia. So let's see how the Cascada performs. As soon as he turns the ignition key, the seatbelt holder moves forward, making it much easier to grasp the belt. Opel sees the Cascada as a member of the premium class. At 4.7 meters, it's exactly as long as a Mercedes E-Class convertible. When you've got a convertible, well then you can put the top down, says our car tester. That can be done in the Cascada at speeds up to 50 kilometers per hour. That takes about 15 seconds. The roof motor is specially encapsulated to reduce the noise it makes. You can hardly hear it. Emmanuel says he doesn't like the great number of instrument buttons. You have to look carefully to find the one you're looking for, and that distracts your attention from the traffic. He also thinks the USB input and auxiliary output look a bit makeshift. But otherwise, the interior looks very good, fresh and sporty, like the whole car. And he thinks everything goes well together. He also likes the Cascada steering, a good compromise, not too taut, not too soft. The steering wheel itself fits well in the driver's hand, but Emmanuel doesn't much like how it looks. The Cascada convertible comes in 3 gasoline and 2 diesel engine versions. We're testing the 1.6-liter gasoline-powered model. The manufacturer says the car needs 6.7 liters of fuel for 100 kilometers. But if your driving style is sporty, it's more like 9 liters. The new engine has 147 kilowatts and accelerates the Cascada from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9.2 seconds. Top speed is 235 kilometers an hour. Our car tester notes the choice of driving mode, Tour or Sport. Tour is for relaxed cruising, for example on long distances on the highway, or you push the Sport button. Red illumination appears behind the instrument panel, so you know you're in Sport mode. Now the fuel uptake is more direct, and the driving is more fun. Emmanuel likes the Cascada's sassiness. It accelerates well and takes curves dynamically and stably. As a gasoline-powered car, it takes a while to hit its stride, but once its RPMs are up, then it really moves. The Cascada also has a lot to offer in the way of safety systems. Optional are a front camera with traffic sign recognition, a lane departure assistant, and a distance and collision alert. To conclude, our car tester wants to mention 2 things. First, all you have to do to open the trunk is press on the Opel logo. There's no handle, and that looks better. But the trunk offers little room. To blame is the space needed for the retracted roof, and the trunk's opening is small as well. The trunk could hold 2 crates of beverages, hardly more, but Emmanuel is still convinced. After all, this is a convertible, not a freight transporter, and he can't resist going for another spin. Each year in July, tens of thousands of motorcycle fans converge on Garmisch-Partenkirchen for the BMW Motorrad Days, where they talk shop and party through the weekend. The unofficial star of this year's event was 81-year-old Sepp Winter. In his over 60 years on the road, he's collected 23 two-wheelers. He's been a motorcycle enthusiast since his youth. He got his driver's license in 1950 and drove a 200cc German Victoria. In 1953, he bought a new Adler, and in 1954, a 500cc BMW. His favorite is the R50. He says the engine runs like a dream and has a much better pickup than the 250cc engines. It's entirely different and lots of fun on the road. Then he roars off. Nothing frail about this old man. All eyes are on Sepp and his R50 as they take their place at the head of the pack, right behind the police escort. Sepp seems to enjoy being the center of attention. This is his 15 minutes of fame. Motorcycle riders have to know what they're doing to live as long as Sepp. Eric, a motorbike instructor, explains what to do if your machine unexpectedly tips over.
It's easy, but then you don't see where you go, okay? And after you have to put the stand and it's difficult. And I can lift the bike with one leg, because I don't go up, I go forward. Okay. So with one leg it's easy. Do this, and I go forward. See? Forward. And I don't need my leg, it's just my body.
The motorcycle fans came from all over Europe. Many of them are veteran bikers with thousands of kilometers behind them. The biker and his bike might stay together for decades. BMW itself can boast of over 90 years of rich and successful motorcycling history. In the 1920s, BMW's sports model R37 collected honors on the racetrack, including 3 class victories in its first time around. BMW made the 16-horsepower R37 available to private buyers in 1925. The racing cycles kept getting lower and lower. BMW's Boxer engine was ideally suited to this design, seen here on the 1972 RS 500. BMW won the Isle of Man Tourist Trophy 9 times and the German Championship 6 times. BMW won the Paris-Dakar Rally again and again through the 1980s, and in 1998 made a new start with this single-cylinder model based on the F650. Beamer scored its biggest success in the year 2000, taking both first and fourth places in the Dakar Rally. Rookie riders can lose their training wheels on this 2010 BMW S1000 RRFIM Superstock. It puts out 142 kilowatts at some 13,000 RPMs. Riders must be under 24 years old. The Motorrad days even have something for absolute beginner bikers, like Marlene Ott. In a closed-off space, she can sample the feel of the open road even without a motorcycle license. Marlene Ott's never driven a motorcycle before. She wants to see if she can do it. She gets a few pointers and she's off on her first lap. Even if driving instructor Gottfried Medicus keeps his hand on the machine as a safety precaution, letting Marlene concentrate on learning to ride. Now she can feel the power she's sitting on and knows better than to underestimate it. She's a bit stressed, but still having fun. For her or anyone who's never done it, it takes quite a lot of getting used to. Here, too, a little courage and self-confidence will go a long way. In just a few minutes, Marlene has Gottfried jogging along beside her. It makes her feel happy. She says it's like a dream. She can imagine that driving a motorcycle properly would be incredible. She wouldn't mind giving it a try. With his stunt show, Monty Griffin of Ireland takes the spectator's breath away. Sitting, standing, on 2 wheels, or 1. He's perfected the art of motorcycle riding. Frans from the Netherlands BMW Motorcycle Club sums up the whole event in a few words. BMW motorcycles have a model for everyone, he says. It's great, fantastic, or in Dutch, not many vintage car buffs would head their darlings into a lake, unless it's a VW Type 166 amphibious vehicle. Where other cars reach the end of the road, this VW is right in its element. The still and well-navigable waters of the Rhine-Main-Danube Canal and Bavaria's picturesque Altmühltal are ideal for taking a dip with an amphibious car. Once afloat, the car's engine has to be switched off and the propeller let down. And you've got a motorboat ready for a leisurely cruise. The 24.5 horsepower engine drives the doorless car at speeds up to 10 kilometers per hour, or about 5.5 knots. Owners of the Type 166 often like to test its limits, on land and water both. Driving it through water is as easy as falling off a log. Longtime Type 166 owner Gottfried Zimo explains all you have to do is steer and step on the gas. It has no rudder and uses the front wheels to steer. With a little practice, you can make tight turns on the water.
Kann man auf kurzem Radius kann man drehen.
But a driver's license is not all you need to be able to take the amphibious car into the water. Gottfried says he can only go where boats are allowed, not on any other body of water. And he needs a boat master's license to show he knows the rules of the waterways and their traffic signs. Once the Type 166 leaves the water, the propeller is disengaged from the drive shaft and tipped up. As soon as the driver puts the vehicle in gear, the engine re-engages the wheels. Body designer Pitt Lur explains that the entire body is waterproofed. And when the propeller is tilted down into the water and locks into a dog clutch, it generates forward drive. A passenger uses the special lowering rod to put the propeller down, where it automatically engages the drive shaft. It's powered by the simple air-cooled VW engine that was installed in the first VW Beetles. The Type 166's technology is based on VW's original strength-through-joy car developed by Ferdinand Porsche, but it was designed for use by the German Wehrmacht in World War II. Porsche was more interested in the technological challenge than the war effort and came up with a floating body with four-wheel drive. Comfort was not high on the list of priorities. About 14,000 Type 166s were built. Today, only about 160 road and seaworthy specimens have survived. With most parts interchangeable with early VWs, it's not difficult to restore a Type 166. Even if the parts can no longer be found on the open market, VW may be persuaded to remanufacture it. So these vintage cars can be kept shipshape for a long time to come. The longer they're kept in shape, the higher the prices rise. Even if a collector can be found who's willing to part with a Type 166 in good seagoing condition, it will likely be for a six-figure sum. Even a junker commands a high price. The VW Type 166 is the supercar among four-wheel drive classics, on land and water. Its unique strength was its off-road capability. How many other vintage or classic cars can you drive into a lake just for the sheer fun of it and bring it back out again?